Okay, this is a video of me trying to use my trackball. I've had this for about a month now, and rather than show you what's happening on the screen, I'm just trying to show you how your hand works on the trackball. So this is a CST trackball with the laser. See, in relation to the keyboard, it's quite large. I mean, you know, look at the depth there. But I wouldn't want it to be any smaller, to be honest, because I've got reasonably large hands, and yeah, I think to be any smaller might be a bit awkward, to be honest. So here we're going to do some various movements which you might do from day to day. So first of all, clicking and moving the cursor, that's fairly easy. No problems there. Quite a nice feature is that if you're trying to whip from one side of the screen to the other, you can sort of throw the ball and get from one side to the other really quickly, which is nice. Perhaps the biggest problem I find anyway is drag and drop, or anything that involves holding the left button down and selecting text or moving an icon around on the screen or something like that. So here we go, this is me doing some drag and drop. It took a while to get used to. To be honest with you, if you're drag and dropping a large amount of text, so here I'll try and select the whole screen in one go, it does involve taking your hand on and off the ball a certain amount. I used to find this used to make my hand ache a bit when I started off, but to be honest, after a couple of weeks it got better, and it doesn't really bother me anymore. So another thing which which is quite tricky, is thing which again is the holding down the left button and moving the cursor around, is when you're doing drawing, where you might hold down the left button and say draw a circle or something like that. Now I expect most people probably use like a pen and pad type thing for that, but I seem to actually have got quite a bit better at this. So just to prove that you can do it, there you go, there's a smiley face I just drew, which is excellent, isn't it? And this is me looking through the phone whilst doing it, so probably not going to be quite as good, but you know, you can do it. Just it's probably comparable to the quality of thing I could do with a mouse. So like I say, so yeah, so in summary, it's a bit awkward to do drag and drop style movements when you first get this thing, but for everything else it's absolutely fine. And particularly you've got that added throw and catch option, which is good from getting from one side of the screen to the other. And I've got a multiple monitor setup here, so that's like really useful because you can cover a large distance very quickly. And that's about it. Well, one thing else I should mention as well is the scroll wheel at the top here. Now, some people have referred to this as smooth. Now, yeah, I suppose there's no clicks on it like you might get on a mouse scroll wheel, so it doesn't click as you use it. But I would describe it as more loose than smooth. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it doesn't feel, say, greasy when you use it. It feels quite loose, and that's quite nice because when you've got like a large document, you can swizz through the pages quite quickly. But it's probably the sort of fine control is more difficult than with a normal scroll wheel on a mouse, which clicks between increments. So you might find that your fine adjustments with this scroll wheel are a bit more tricky to do than they would be with a mouse. But again, that's something you get used to over time, and I wouldn't worry about it too much. Of course, you can still scroll by holding down the scroll bar on the right hand side of a document, say, and using the ball instead. That's perfectly okay. And also you can do a lot of documents, PDF files and things like that. You can hold down one of the buttons, can't you, to do a scroll lock or something like that. So again, that's another option, and you can get these without the scroll wheel, but I would say it's a good thing to have. It's particularly good if you're looking for like a table or a picture in a document and you want to like scroll through it really quickly and just find something that you might recognize as it whizzes past, then that really makes it quicker. So I would say this is probably no slower than a mouse. I definitely wouldn't say it's any slower. I'm not sure it's any quicker. And you do lose a tiny bit of fine control. I don't play games with this. It's just for desk work. But I've found, I think I've had this a month, between 3 weeks and a month. It's taken me about that long to get used to it. But now I am. I don't think I'll be switching back. It takes away a lot of the tense feeling you get in your shoulder, because when you're using a mouse you have to float your elbow above the desk and perhaps and you're tensing right up to your shoulder, but with this you just rest your hand on here and your hand does all the work. It's quite exhausting for your hand to start off with, but when it gets used to it after a couple of weeks, then you really start to see the benefits from that. And whether it's the bit of yoga I've been doing, or whether it's the not having to tense my shoulder all day, it's my neck and shoulders are less stiff using this trackball than they are a normal mouse. So anyway, if you have any questions, just give me a shout and we'll go from there. Thank you very much. Bye.